Ahoy and welcome. I am Lee the Pirate Tester, and today I am joined by Mike Harris. Morning, afternoon even, Mike. It's not morning.
Yeah, that's right. Good afternoon. It's been a very busy morning, absolutely.
So, aside from busy, how's your day and life in general going?
Today's actually been quite good. I've had some time to do a little bit of maintenance on some JavaScript, which I've been pleased about. So that's been good. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, wonderful. I've been staring at Excel documents, working about reports I need to do. So, having humans to talk to is very nice to make up for all the Excel.
Yeah, that's right. It's important. I think one of the nice things about being a tester is to get that variety in your job, and it's very important.
Indeed. So, Mike, we've not, like, the annoying thing about Twitter is you can chat with people, but then never actually speak with them. So it's wonderful hearing people's voices. But what do you do, Mike? To all the listeners out there, tell them about what you do.
Okay, so I'm the lone tester at Geckoboard, and we've got about 12, 15 developers. You're working out how to work with that scenario, and what I'm doing is the developers are divided into three teams. I'm a member of one team, so I work hard for that team, and when I've got time, I get involved in the other teams. I try to get involved as early as possible with work for all the teams. With my team, obviously that's possible because I'm in all the meetings, but I don't have time to go to planning for all the other meetings. But I try to get involved as early as possible. I responsible for a pack of visual tests which run on a tool called Ghost Inspector. And as I say, I really try to get involved really as early as possible. So that's really what I'm doing.
I mean, the idea of being the lone tester when there's like 12 developers terrifies me. That's a hefty ratio.
It is, that's right. And I've made clear to people what my priorities are. I think that's really important. So my first priority is the tests that run in CI because they're a service to all developers. Then after that, my priority is my team. And then I'll pick up work from other teams. But actually, it is a difficult ratio. It means that I'm not involved in all the work that goes on. But by thinking strategically, I can get involved in useful ways on work for other teams. We had a post-mortem last week, and I got involved in that and started talking about different doneness was the issue that came up, and so we were talking about that. So it is not a good ratio from a tester's point of view, and it does provide challenges, but actually I enjoy where I work. I think that also depends a lot on the culture of the place where you work. Geckoboard places a lot of emphasis on how people treat one another and having a healthy work culture, and I think that's what really makes it work. So yeah, it's a very positive thing about Geckoboard.
That's good. I mean, because of how they know you are the only tester there, has it encouraged them to focus more on what testing the developers themselves can do before they might even need to reach out to you?
Testers do testing, and I encourage them not to be reliant on my manual testing because I think that's not healthy. I think it's important that people are confident in the work that they do. But I think that actually I'd also want to get involved, and it's actually the question of when and how you can get involved that I think that's important, and it's just finding ways and asking to be in this meeting and that meeting, putting forward suggestions. And but I also go to a community practice for front-end developers, and I've been able to get discussions there about testing as well. And so it's finding different ways to work, to engage with people. And so I think generally the emphasis on having a healthy work culture really very much helps.
Yeah, I imagine if the developers was very much, they make stuff and chuck it over the fence and don't really interact and talk, it would be a vastly different experience for you.
Yeah, that's right. And I also think that it's up to me to get engaged and sort of provide value for the teams. And if I can be seen to do that in different ways that I interact with them, then in fact I can start to gain relationships on those different areas with different individuals and different teams. And at the same time, as I say, I've got to keep the visual test running and support my own team.
And have you always had it where you've been the only tester amongst a large amount of developers, or have you had other roles where you're part of bigger teams?
I was an only tester at a startup for about 5 or 6 years, and then the company grew and we took on people and I became test lead and I moved on. And I've come here, I worked with another tester who moved on, I then became the only tester, and I've been like that for a little while. So I have done, but I think that there's a difference in being the only tester in an agile team. Other times when I've been an only tester, it was in a waterfall team, and so the role is quite different. And each provides its own challenges, but being the only tester in an agile team, I think is much better because you are engaged with the developers and helping to produce good quality code rather than being the sort of quality police, which I think you can be in a waterfall team.
Sadly so, yeah, and often it can feel like if you don't find the problem, it's your fault. You're like, why did you let this through? And it's, look, I didn't code it. I didn't make the problem. Don't make it. I don't want to be the only goalie stopping all these balls flying my way. Please don't treat it that way.
Yeah, that's right.
What advice would you give to other testers if they are in a similar situation where they're the sole tester in the team, whether it's because the company only has just that one role or something's happened and they've become the only tester when there was more than one tester before? What would you advise or encourage people with?
I would say work out your priorities and communicate them. I put them in the company wiki in a part of a test strategy document. And I would say communicate them, and if they're not working, revise them. But actually, I think you've got to be very clear what your priorities are because you are very, very stretched.
Because I've had it where I might be the only tester on like a project, but there's the wider testing community in my workplace, but not where I've been the only one full stop. And that would feel quite, I don't know, difficult. I'm not quite sure.
I think that one of the other strengths is leaning into the testing community, and that's something I've very much done this year, and I found really very helpful and very supportive. So I'd say that if you feel a bit stressed, just lean into the testing community and listen to what people say, ask questions, and I'm sure people will come forward with useful support and advice.
Yeah, the wider tester community is fantastic. I'm so glad I found out about it because I know I'm not alone when I've got a problem, if I'm stuck, or just to chat about things.
Yeah, I think it's also chatting about things with people who've got a similar perspective, and I think that's a difficulty you can have as being the lone tester.
Well, we're nearly out of time, so thank you for coming along to my racket today, Mike. It's been wonderful to talk to you.
Great, thank you very much. It's nice to talk to